Why Anthony Edwards is even more special than you may think.
Edwards. Oh, Edwards! A signature slam!
Anthony Edwards is letting everybody on notice, yeah, I'm not going to wait for y'all to give me anything. I'm going to take it all.
Believe it!
Yes, Surfshark! Yeah!
The Minnesota Timberwolves are coming off a really impressive 4-0 sweep over the Phoenix Suns. But in my opinion, a huge reason for why the Timberwolves were able to play so well during the season, and especially a huge reason for why they were able to sweep the Pelicans, comes down to Anthony Edwards. And in my personal opinion, I think Anthony Edwards is even better than a lot of people think. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm JuicySports. I make opinionated NBA content. And if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. Ever since Anthony Edwards was drafted all the way back in 2020, it was pretty clear that there was something really special about this guy. And coming into the NBA, there was just a lot to like. Obviously, offensively, he was very talented. Of course, he was extremely athletic. You saw the posterizing dunks. On the defensive side of the court, he was very talented. Of course, you also saw the crazy blocks, and you just saw Anthony Edwards utilize his athleticism a ton. And I think a lot of people became attracted to his game based on all those crazy highlights that he does produce. But in my opinion, even when he was drafted, and especially at this point currently, you can get distracted by all the crazy athletic plays that Anthony's able to do. But at the end of the day, a huge reason for why he was drafted as high as he was, and a huge reason for why he's had all the success that he's had so far in the NBA, is due to the actual skill he has behind all that athleticism. Because when you look at the history of the NBA, there was a ton of guys that got into the NBA solely due to their incredible athleticism. But at the end of the day, the guys that stick in the NBA, and especially the guys who turn into superstar players, are not just guys that are athletic. They're guys that have a lot of skill, and at the end of the day, I definitely do think Anthony Edwards is one of those guys that not only has stuck, but will continue to stick, and in my opinion, become one of the best players in the NBA in the future. But a question that a lot of you may be wondering at this point is, why do I think Anthony Edwards is even more special than a lot of people may think? Well, in my opinion, I think everybody already knows that Edwards is a great player, but I want to take that to the next step. In my personal opinion, I think this guy not only can, but he will be the best player in the NBA. And I think this for a couple different reasons, but the first reason that I want to touch upon is a skill already at this point. Because when you watch Anthony Edwards play out there, it's pretty clear that this guy is extremely talented, but he's also very diverse in the skill set that he does possess. Like for example, offensively from that 3-point range, Anthony definitely has a really nice ability to shoot from out there. He has a great ability to hit the catch and shoot 3-point jump shot. Of course, he can cross over, sidestep, or step back from that range. And basically from that 3-point area, although I wouldn't consider Anthony Edwards to be one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, he does shoot a pretty decent percentage from there, and he definitely has all the abilities to hit shots relatively consistently from that range. But besides his 3-point shooting ability, he also has a phenomenal mid-range game, as he has a great one-dribble pull-up where he utilizes that great athleticism to truly negate any sort of contest, and of course negate any sort of block shot potential on those jumpers. But besides that, he has a great post turnaround fadeaway, he can cross over, sidestep, or step back from that mid-range. Of course, he can hit that catch and shoot mid-range jump shot, and overall, in my opinion, I think his mid-range game is one of the best aspects of his entire game. But even besides that, this is really where we get to the best aspect of his game, and that's his driving and finishing ability. Once Edwards gets a full head of steam driving to the basket, he's essentially impossible to stop. And I know I mentioned this for a couple different guys like Zion Williamson, LeBron James, and some others, but in my opinion, I think Anthony Edwards truly lives up to this name. Once getting a full head of steam down to the basket, Edwards is going to do one of two things. Either he's going to dunk over you, or he's going to finish around you with crafty layups. But regardless of what he does, he's going to score the basketball, and in my opinion, that's a huge reason for why he's so special. Regardless of what you talk about in this guy's game, whether you talk about skill or whether you talk about athleticism, it's pretty clear that he has both, and he makes both of them work extremely well once driving all the way down to the basket. But even besides his individual scoring ability, Edwards has done a phenomenal job at improving his passing and playmaking ability over the years, and at this point I would say he's a pretty good passer and playmaker. He can get guys open looks, and the fact that he does have that ability alongside with the fact that he is such a great scorer out there, it just makes him that much more dangerous. Now on the defensive side of the court, he's also a really good defender. He utilizes that athleticism, he utilizes his speed, he utilizes his strength, and all the abilities that he has naturally defensively to make him one of the better defenders in the entire NBA. Now the next reason for why I think Anthony Edwards will become the best player in the NBA someday is due to his playoff performance. Now obviously we haven't seen much of it, but in this first round matchup versus Phoenix Suns, we've seen Anthony Edwards play extremely well. And in my personal opinion, based upon that factor and based upon some game winners and great play in clutch time situations that we have seen from him in his NBA career so far, I do think that's also another factor for why I think this guy's going to be the best. Because when you talk about guys that are extremely talented and even superstar players, not all of them have that capability of playing extremely well in clutch time, and not all of them have the ability of playing extremely well in playoff performances as well. But when you look at Anthony Edwards, it's pretty clear that he's one of those guys that's going to thrive in those situations. And if he's already able to thrive in those situations currently at this point, he's only going to get better with time in terms of his skill and in terms of his confidence. So in 3, 4, even 5 seasons from now, just imagine how good this guy can get in the playoffs and how good this guy can get in clutch time situations. But another factor for why I think Edwards is going to be the best player in the NBA someday is due to his work ethic. Because as I mentioned before, there's a lot of players that come into the NBA solely based upon their athleticism. But when you talk about Anthony Edwards, he has great athleticism, yes, but he also has a great amount of skill, and a huge reason for why he's been so skilled, and a huge reason for why we've even seen improvement from year 1 to where he is currently is due to his work ethic. All great players in the NBA have tremendous work ethic. They all know that they need to constantly work on their games regardless of how good they are. And every player is going to have those weaknesses, and if you're able to work on those weaknesses and limit that as much as you possibly can, that's when you talk about turning into a superstar. And I think it's pretty clear already at this point that Anthony Edwards is in that superstar conversation, but as the years do progress, I do think the work ethic is another huge reason for why I think this guy's going to be the best player in the NBA someday. I think he's already shown a ton of great work ethic, and I don't think it's going to slow down from here. So in my opinion, when you talk about a player that could potentially be the best player in the NBA, I look at a couple different things. Of course, his overall skill. The next thing I look for is his natural abilities, like his size, like his athleticism, things like that. After that, I would look at his work ethic, and after that, I would look at his clutch time / playoff performances. And I think all of those boxes are checked off by Anthony Edwards. I think he's proven already at this point to be very talented and very good in all those departments, and I think as the years progress, it's only going to improve. So I definitely do think Anthony Edwards will become the best player in the NBA someday. Now looking forward to his next playoff matchup versus Denver Nuggets, I think this series is going to be incredible. I think Anthony Edwards is going to play great, I think Jokic and Jamal Murray are going to play great, and I think this is going to be a very interesting and entertaining matchup. But I will say I am extremely excited to see what happens in it. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Anthony Edwards can be the best player in the NBA someday, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these 2 videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.